could you tell me, I guess every film, you guys immerse yourself in it. For the director, you live with this for a long, long period of time. Does each film change you, and did this one change you at all?
I think it changed me in terms of, I've gone on a huge journey of understanding about trans experience and the transgender community, and when I first fell in love with the script, I didn't, I hadn't been on this journey, so I think that's been a very enriching and rewarding journey.
Let's set the scene. Let's talk about the story of Lily and Gerda and how it came to you initially.
Well, it all started with falling in love with a great script. I cannot tell you how rare it is to come across great scripts that haven't been made. There are years where I read 50, 60 scripts and struggle to find one that I really want to make.
Really?
No, it's very hard, and this probably remains the best first draft script I've ever read, and I fell in love with it. It made me cry, and because it moved me so much, I was drawn to making it. It's a love story. It's about a young couple, both artists living in Copenhagen in the 20s, who deal with the dawning realization on the part of the husband that she's a woman inside, and it's a portrait of a marriage going through this profound change, where love mediates the change throughout.
It's hard to imagine the courage that Lily showed to undergo that transition, but the operations that she would have gone at that time, because we're talking about almost 100 years ago, aren't we?
I was thinking that we're at the Venice Film Festival, which is in its 72nd, 73rd year, and this operation happened just before just before the Venice Film Festival started, which gives you some sense of the timescale. Even making a movie, it was hard. It was hard to kind of explain to people how dangerous the operations were, because you can't have a character saying, it's a dangerous operation, antibiotics haven't been invented yet, or you do know, Lily, that penicillin is yet to be someone's yet to invent penicillin, but yes, it's a world before these brilliant defences against infection were invented, and so the risk of death was incredibly high, and the surgery was pioneering and experimental. So I think what's also come across in my 7 years living with this story is the incredible courage of Lily Albert, and also you get some sense of how in pain she must have been living as Einar to take those risks to become her true self.
We need to talk about your two leads.
Yes.
Eddie, you've worked with before. Why was he always, I believe, always your first choice?
Yeah, literally from the first time I read the script, I had a very strong instinct that Eddie was the right person to cast. I was very open to many different routes, but that instinct remained strong with me throughout the process. It's a combination of having worked with him before. I worked with him when he was 22 years old on Elizabeth I, where he was opposite, Helen Mirren and Jeremy Irons, and gave the most astonishing performance in a scene where he was sentenced to death for rebelling against Helen Mirren. We then did Les Mis together, where his performance of Empty Chairs, Empty Tables, to me, remains one of the highlights of that movie against some pretty, great opposition. And there's something in Eddie that's drawn to the feminine that I was intrigued by. He's played women roles before, like in Mark Rylance's 12th Night, he played Viola. So I thought he might be interested in going into that further and more comprehensively, and I slipped in the script on the barricades of Les Mis at Pinewood Studios, and like me, he fell in love with the script.
And Alicia too.
Yeah, Alicia, I haven't known, I haven't known for as many years as Eddie, but there was a succession of great movies she did. A Royal Affair, Anna Karenina, Ex Machina, and she's I think she's one of the emerging greats, and she's got a huge career ahead of her. But I love her energy, I love her great big heart, I love her passion, and I love her for being Scandinavian and not uptight and British.